What we're going to be doing in this challenge is creating the setup to be able to load the scenes based on when a user clicks either the single player button or the co-op button. Now the question is, how do we do that and what is going to control this? So what we're going to have here is a main menu manager that's basically going to handle all the interactions for the main menu. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to create a new C# script. We're going to go into our scripts folder here. Let's create a new C# script. And before you do that, create a new folder and let's call this main menu. All the scripts related to the main menu will be inside here. So C# script, and let's call this main menu. What we can do is attach this to the canvas. Let's go ahead and open that up in Visual Studios. And what we want to do now is we have our main menu here. And what we want to do is basically control the functionality of those buttons. So the question is, how do we actually interact with the UI to trigger some code? Because obviously, when you click a button, it needs to communicate with this script and say, hey, load this scene. But what I care about more is I have a method in here that I want to have called when I click a button. So for example, I have here public void will say load single player. All right, load single player game. And we're going to say debug.log single game loading or single player game loading. Okay, so here we go. I want this log to print out every time I hit that button. How do we do that? Well, we have this load single player game method. Now what I want to do is every time I click this single player game, I want that method to get called. Okay? So the question comes, how do I trigger that? How does the game know that I hit this single player? Well, if we actually look at the button, if you look on the single player button, and you look at the components here, we have this on-click event. This on-click event will automatically get called every time you're clicking that button. So you'll see here that the on-click has this little plus icon. If you actually click that, it will access an object. And it has a runtime only option. This runtime only means that it's while the game is running. So here, while the game is running, when you click that object or when you click that button, what object do we want to affect? Well, we want to affect our main menu script, which is attached to the canvas. So drag your canvas directly to this slot, and you'll see here that a drop-down menu appears. And what we're looking for is the component main menu. And then here is a bunch of methods, but you'll notice that there's one method here that I created called load single player game. And now what's happening here is every time I click that button, it will call my load single player game method inside the main menu. So if I go ahead and play this, you'll see here that as I click single player, the console prints out single player game loading. So what I want you guys to do as a challenge is hook up the co-op button, and then I want you to load both of those scenes. So when I hit the single player button, you need to figure out, how do I make this actually load scene 1 or single player scene? And then you'll need to create another method for loading the co-op. I'll see you guys in the challenge review.